Agenda meeting. Council agenda, Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Township Council agenda meeting of January 5th, 2021. Posting of notice. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 18th, 2020, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the Newark Star Ledger on December 22nd, 2020, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers on December 18th, 2020. No, council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 a.m. on Sundays and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net. I now ask everyone to please stand for the flag salute. Mayor, I turn it over to you, please.
Thank you, Clerk. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. Now I'll go ahead into the roll call. Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Here.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Also in attendance are Mayor Michael Soriano, Business Administrator Fred Parr, Township Attorney Jim Lott, and CFO Juan Uribe. Council President, we have a quorum. Please begin.
Please begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, January 19th, 2021. At 7 p.m. We have the regular meeting. At February 2nd at 7 p.m. is the agenda meeting. Approval of minutes. Agenda meeting of 12/1/20. Moving into presentations and reports. Mayor, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Clerk. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. And, as we boldly step into this new year 2021 and leave 2020 behind us, I want to invite everyone to watch the Parsippany State of the Township address, which will be presented this Thursday, January 7th at 7 and 7 on the Township website, social media, and Video on the Go Channel 21. This year's address will obviously be different from our typical in-person gatherings, but I feel with our continued social distance, it's important as ever to provide residents and council members an opportunity to hear from me and be involved in our plans in the year ahead. I hope you'll join me January 7th for the State of the Township presentation. I look forward to working with all of you in the coming year and into the future. And with that said, I want to wish everyone a safe, happy, and hopefully a very positive new year. And I am very hopeful that the best is yet to come in 2021. God bless you all. Thank you. Clerk, that ends my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving along to the Township Attorney.
I have no report. Happy New Year.
Okay. Thank you. Happy New Year. Township Council.
Yeah, I have a question about, now with this new variant of the virus and the cases in New Jersey going up, do we have any more information about that is available, how Morris County is doing, how the town is doing? No?
Councilwoman, are you requesting, where we have a separate chart, if you will, with those people in New Jersey who have possibly tested with the new variant or just not? The data is not there. These are eaches. I think only one person in New York from last night's news had the new variant. And from what I've seen and read, both of the vaccines are still 95 percentile with a new, if I could use the word, the new variant of the COVID virus. It transmits faster, but it's the same virus. It mutated.
Yeah, I understand that. Do we have any information about they expect a surge as well, and the cases are, as I said, going up, and they expect a surge on top of that?
The surge they're talking about right now, the surge we're in right now is the post-Christmas surge. I've seen or talked in my discussions today with Carlo, no conversation with regards to if you could use a surge as a result of a new variant.
And as far as, are we experiencing more cases now from the Christmas surge and the New Year's surge?
It's continued pretty steady since post Thanksgiving. We're still up, at the 40 and 50 on some days.
Okay.
Has Carlo or you, Mr. Carr, are there plans in place to deal with the surge and or the new variant and or the vaccine rollout? And I know town hall has been closed. Has that been working, do you think, in order to keep the cases down and the community spread down?
And so we've, though town has been closed, we've still had cases within the employees. They have got them because they still have to go to ShopRite or here, there, and everywhere. Most of our cases here in the township have been, I call them secondary contacts. People with second jobs, pick them up, bring them home, and then they end up quarantining the other members of the family. But since our big surge, if you will, our big episode back in November, we've been, and I use the word loosely, lucky on a subsequent surge. In my conversation with Carlo on the rollout, if you go to the Morris County website, they have a plan for the rollout for the mass vaccination site, which will be up in one of the ones chosen by the state up in Rockaway Township, up at the Sears Mall. Once that starts rolling, they're still gearing up to have that now. Where we are right now across the state is not a lack of people who would like the shot. It's just a lack of the ability to give the shot that's available. But people are getting vaccinated. It's just going to take some time to roll out and get everybody lined up, and they're still doing the tier 1 people, the healthcare professionals.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I have read that relying on the vaccine as a solution is not prudent, that the best way to continue the slowing of the spread of this is through social distancing, mask wearing, etc. You mentioned ShopRite at the beginning. I am unaware of community spread in supermarkets. In fact, I've been under the impression that supermarkets are an incredibly safe place to be, especially as a shopper. Are you aware of community spread in the local grocery stores?
Well, when I say ShopRite, I mean when you leave your house and you go outside. Okay?
Right. I think it's important to clarify that the vast majority of the spread that's happening is in small gatherings, indoors, in people's homes.
Okay, but somebody brings it in and they got it from somewhere. And so you are correct. As the governor refers to these gatherings of knuckleheads, that's his term of art for the last 9 months, is how we do that. But the spread in our employees in the map in the population is from gatherings or from being out of the house. I mean, we still have to exist. It's now January. We've been at this almost 10 months. The use of masks will not decrease. The requirement, if I use the word, is will still be here in town hall. We're efforting, as you saw from the email, from opening town hall back to the employees on the 19th, with a possible return of the public on the week following that. But again, those strict rules of mask wearing, social distancing, hopefully temperature checks, hand washing, those things are not slacking off until we hit a vaccination rate, which will provide as some kind of immunity for the public and ourselves.
So is the town hall open to the public?
Not now, but it's not today. No, ma'am. It'll be. We're looking at opening the town hall. If you the email that I sent out on Monday, possible opening day of the 25th. But again, right now by appointment only. If you come into town hall right now and you beat on the doors are locked, and there's signs right by the front door, big posters that say, call open by appointment only.
What's the rush to undo that?
we have a lot of things that have to be done. It's especially in construction. You know, we have really taken a beating down in construction with permits and building and developers and people trying to get their projects done with their inability to meet with our construction people for the last 2 months. In November and December, we were closed that entire month there, backlogged considerably, and we are getting just a lot of concerned individuals and projects being held up. And what we're trying to do is strike that balance between moving the process forward and protecting our employees. It is a delicate balance. And I think that, with temperature checks and the continued masking and those kinds of things, we will be fine.
What I've seen in construction, since everybody is isolated and in their homes a lot more than they normally are, a lot of home projects have been taking place, and a lot of them require permits. And so they have contractors ready to do the work, but they're having trouble making appointments to get permits so they can do some work in their homes or outside their homes.
That is correct. That's part of the volume, and plus the bigger projects that we have coming on. But yes, people are at home, they're putting the decks in, they're doing all this work that they couldn't do before, and they're waiting, not just for the permits, but they're subsequently waiting for the inspections to keep it moving.
Right.
The challenge of the inspector of, going into somebody's house to look at your water heater. Something as simple as that. And there are ways around that. It can be signed off by the plumber, and you have to take his word for it and inspect it at a later time. But that's a slippery slope, council, and we really don't want to go there too far. We only inspect for safety.
I think the slippery slope is doing the same thing again and expecting a different outcome in terms of community spread inside town hall, but that's just me.
Well, I think that's something that probably could be evaluated again when we see what happens with this variant being more contagious and where it is when you decide to go back to, somewhat normal operations.
Agreed.
Okay, anyone else from town council?
Wait a minute.
May I speak to what the business administrator just spoke of? When we do return, start having employees return full time, okay? Besides having temperature check stations upstairs and downstairs at town hall that will also register if people are masking and telling them to mask. It'll keep a record of who's coming in and out for contact tracing reasons. Also, we have purchased our own steamer. So instead of having a company coming in to do it, we can do it ourselves on a weekly basis to steam the building ourselves. And again, we are open now, but only by appointment only. This is to limit the in and out and the walking around of people to, limit the exposure to the public and exposure to township employees. I hear what Councilmember Peterson is saying. We have no intentions of doing it exactly the way we did it before. Right now, this is a plan that is flexible, that we would like to do, but quite frankly, Fred and I look at those numbers all the time, and based on those, it's going to ultimately determine when and if we open. But we felt it was our duty to let you know what we had in those pencil plans, as it were. We have an intention of bringing all the employees back after Martin Luther King Day. We have an intention of opening up to the public by appointment only, again, the following week. But just on understanding that, and that could change based on what we see with the numbers, because all the predictions and the experts are saying that this month and next month are going to be very difficult. Thank you, Council President and Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I have something. We're on township council committees.
Not on the committees yet, Council President. We're going to go there in 1 second. No one else from council has any other comments, correct? Okay, moving along then to the Business Administrator, Frederick Carr.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Township Clerk, I have no report. Council President, we are now on the Township Offices and Committees report.
Okay, I'd just like to give a brief report on Craftsman Farms. I'm going to read their report. Last April, with the log house doors closed for tours, we began expanding upon and experimenting with new ways to connect. To better stay in touch during ever-evolving circumstances, our quarterly newsletter became weekly e-newsletters. We adapted educational courses and member programs into fresh formats for online consumption. On-site museum shop specials became popular e-blast flash sales. Social media engagement on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, I don't know what that is, was vastly expanded. And while we have aimed to keep this content fresh, we have also worked on making it more in-depth and meaningful. Here is a look back at the list of this year's virtual programs. 8 virtual multi-session courses with Dr. Jonathan Clancy, Director of Collections and Preservation. These are the 8 topics he covered. Living the Simple Life, the Arts and Crafts Movement at Home. Icons of the 20th Century Design. Craftsman Utopia, Gustav Stickley's Craftsman Farms. Making Her Mark, Women of the American Arts and Crafts Movement. The Creative Spark, Rethinking Decoration in the Arts and Crafts Movement. The Craftsman, The Life and Work of Gustav Stickley. The Restorative Power of Craft. A Very Craftsman Christmas. Then they had 4-member executive virtual forms of field tours. The Gamble House in Pasadena, California. Frank Lloyd Wright Smith House, Bloomfield Hills, Illinois, MI. The Harvey Ellis Bungalow and Crabtree Farm, Lake Bluff, Illinois. Pubic Pottery, Detroit, Michigan. Then he had 7 virtual member-exclusive programs. The virtual exhibit, open reception, things wrought by the United Crafts, an expression of modern life. Furniture 101, a visit to Bruce Johnson's workshop, parts 1 and 2. A conversation with Herb Stratford, director of Gustav Stickley, American Craftsman. Log House Open Doors, a virtual tour. Education Center, design team panel discussion. Virtual Craftsmiss Party. And the programs were well attended. And in fact, many of the people that wrote in want these type of virtual tours to continue in the future, even after the pandemic is over. They enjoy them so much. So I just wanted to share that with you, that a creative way of still reaching out to the public from Craftsman Farms. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Council President, or do they charge for those tours?
Yes.
That's
They
great.
do.
That's another stream of money for them, right?
Exactly.
That's great.
That became the primary, so other than their gala, the virtual gala, this was the primary function, and they did surprisingly well, a lot better than they anticipated.
It's great.
Okay, thank you, Council President. Engineering report, none. Correspondence, none. Moving along to bids taken. December 17th, 2020, yard waste transportation and disposal /recycling to be taken, none. Quotations, proposal, qualifications. December 16th, 2020, affordable housing administrative agent. Moving along to the public hearing, I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. Carriffy,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. The floor is open. For the attendees, you will have 5 minutes to speak on any matter. You will speak after the 5 minutes. You will be muted, and then if questions came up, either the council or the administration will address your questions. With that being said, let's take a look at the list to see who his hand is up. I have a Daniel Byers. Let's please unmute Daniel.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much to the council for giving me this opportunity to speak. As you said, my name is Daniel Byers, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of Solar Landscape, which is a solar project developer based in Asbury Park. The reason I'm speaking to you today is to share my excitement in informing the council that we are applying to the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities with a year 2 community solar project in Parsippany. What we do is we put solar panels on large industrial rooftops, and what the community solar program allows us to do is use the power from these solar energy systems to power homes throughout the local communities where they are placed. Those receiving energy from the project do not need to have any solar panels on their rooftops. This project will provide a 20% discount in its electricity costs to everyone that subscribes. There are no fees and no long-term contracts for subscribing to this project. 51% of electricity sold through this project will go to low and moderate income residents. And of course, all of the community solar projects together serve to prevent tons of carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere every year. This project is set to be located in Parsippany and will be able to power approximately 70 homes in the area. However, in order for this project to come to fruition, it will need to be selected for approval by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities when they review all of the year 2 community solar applications. Hence why I'm speaking to you today. In bringing this project to your attention, I'm hoping to open a line of communication with the council and learn more about how best I could share more information about this project with you. The goal is that in a future meeting, this council would pass a resolution in support of our particular project, as have other municipalities with other projects we have developed, including in South Brunswick, Millville, Pennsville, East Hanover, and Neptune. These resolutions are very helpful when the project goes in front of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities when they decide which projects to approve. This year, the project application deadline is February 5th, so I was hoping to introduce myself, Solar Landscape, and this project to you so that we can discuss it more and hopefully see the council pass a resolution in support of this project and demonstrate their commitment to the community solar program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Let's go ahead and mute Daniel.
Well, I have a question for Daniel.
Okay.
Where in Parsippany at Route 46 are you planning to put these?
This would be located on 277 US Highway 46. And if you have further questions, I mean, obviously we can discuss it now, but kind of my goal with introducing this project to you, telling you a little bit about what we do and what the community solar program is so that if you are considering a resolution to support it or want to learn more about it, I could reach out to you in any number of ways to further discuss the project and kind of what community solar is and what we're hoping to achieve.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have, I think, Nick Homiak. His hand is up. Let's unmute Nick.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Nick.
On the resolution, it says JCP&L agreement with the wastewater plant. Is that an attempt to replace the diesel with solar panels on the wastewater plant? That would be a positive thing. I'd like to remind Mayor Soriano that on the 7th, there's also a Board of Education public web meeting that corresponds with his time. I think that they shouldn't conflict like that. It's like the same thing, 2 different towns, Township of Parsippany and Township of Parsippany Education. But I think it's inappropriate for the Board of Education to schedule a parallel meeting at the same time the mayor is going to make his address. And I still feel very strongly that the Parsippany Planning and Zoning Board should have members of an environmental commission that sit as members of those two entities. And even though we're in the Highlands conformance now, whenever that really takes off, I hope it'll help. But a lot of that is still volunteer. And I'm not even exactly clear on what that means overall. And my personal opinion is that we're still outdated in our thinking about the world, engineering and property rights, but we have to start thinking in ecological senses, in the scientific terms of ecology. And ecology is not just recycling and, you know, trying to do something on an individual level. It's a science that represents the forces of life and succession and how we fit in or don't fit in and how we become our own worst enemies. And I would think our example of our water problems that we now have is a form of ecological emergent property, that if we had the right people looking at things, we could have saw this ahead of time. And there's a pile of dirt sitting in the park across from the community center. And I was wondering what they were going to do with that dirt. And I noticed that the park, I even have to wonder whether that park should have been put in that spot, because if you look at the ecology maps, the landscape interactive maps, that area is a wetland. And if you look, there's right down the slope and everything, it's a wetland. The community center, all of that, the golf course is all in open waters, riparian zones, wetlands. But are they going to fill in that park with the dirt to try to compensate for the groundwater? And the groundwater is very close to the surface there. So I don't know what they're going to accomplish. Let me see if I have anything else here. Oh, yeah. How long does a person have to be delinquent in their taxes before they're penalized? And I think it's relevant because if we're giving pilot deals away to developers when everything used to be tax ratables, and these corporations have all these big tax evasion schemes, for a regular homeowner or a person, how long do you have to be delinquent in your taxes before you're penalized, and what exactly is the penalty? And am I correct? Say, yeah, is Pat Patacci on the Transparency Committee? Is she?
Yeah. Yes, she's on the.
Yeah, and just for curiosity, I hate to bring this up for the new year, but is the Transparency Committee or the auditor looking into what happened to the $18 million that was in the water and sewer surplus that miraculously disappeared?
All right, Nick, time's up, Nick. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, Nick. Let's go ahead and mute Nick. I'll turn it over to the council president and administration if they want to address any of that.
Mr. Council President, may I address one question that was brought up, one point?
Please do.
Hey, Mr. Homiak, thank you very much. But listen, the Board of Education needs to function and needs to get their work done. And so does the Township of Parsippany. We do try to look out and avoid certain dates, but if we avoided each other so much, we wouldn't get work done. And they need to get their work done. We need to get our work done. I do not take that as a slight whatsoever, though I appreciate you looking out. And not only that, the state of the township will be available even after I'm done with the State of the Township. You'll be able to watch it on various social media, including the website and on the cable channel. I think it repeats a couple of times on the cable channel. So we're making sure that it's as available as possible. That's all I have. I turn it back to the council president or to the BA to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Council President, I just want to ask Mr. Lott, is there a requirement for the environmental committee to, provide any information to the zoning or planning board?
I'd have to check to see what our checklist requirements are for planning and zoning applications. Often where there's established an environmental commission, there's a requirement that the application be sent to the development application, whether it be planning or zoning, be sent to the environmental commission. The township doesn't have an environmental commission. They have an environmental advisory committee, and we've actually just started to take a look at what the township would need to do in order to form an environmental commission.
And by the way, if I could add to that, we do have a member from the environmental committee on the planning board.
Committees, our committees are advisory committees, so there's no requirement. However, if there is an application that has an environmental issue, and our township engineering department and recommends it, or the planning board president or the board of adjustment president recommends it, we can refer applications for their feedback. But that's up to the planning board and the board of adjustment president whether we do that.
Well, by the way, the planning board member that's also on the environmental committee is an environmental engineer. That's Judy Hernandez, by the way.
Is there, no one is on the zoning board, right? That's just a request, Council President? That's just would be a request by the.
But we do have some engineers on the board of adjustment too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're all environmental engineers, but they are engineers.
And just as, go ahead, I'm sorry.
We also have our own experts, our own engineer and our own traffic engineer and township engineer represented on both of those boards to make sure that the township doesn't do anything foolish. But they're primarily looking at vernal ponds, steep slopes, zoning requirements, land use requirements, but not specifically environmental. But they could be referred if either department, as a matter of fact, even if a member of the public that participates in those meetings requests it, that a particular issue is sensitive enough to send it to that committee, I'm sure it would be done.
Thank you. I just want to make a comment on what they were talking about, the solar panels. The American Lung Association has given Morris County an F on the danger of carbons in the air. That was just something that I saw just recently. I just wanted to pass that along.
Okay, we also have Bob Venezia, who was unable to log on, so he has actually called in. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead. Bob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
You can hear me, and they can hear you. So
they can hear me.
Yes,
okay.
You have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. This is Bob Venezia from 102 Brooklawn Drive. All I have tonight is two questions. Two relating to payment in lieu of tax pilot agreements, and two more questions relating to the upcoming budget. And I'll read through them all. First question is, according to New Jersey state law, does a payment in lieu of taxes or pilot agreement terminate if the property is sold to a for-profit entity such as a Real Estate Investment Trust, or REIT? And what sections of the New Jersey law regulate the transferability of a pilot upon sale of a property? Second question, I would like to verify my understanding of a statement made by our attorney at the December 15th council meeting. He seemed to indicate that once a township, and in this case Parsippany, has approved zoning overlays that would allow affordable housing to be built on a property, then its affordable housing obligation for that site has been fulfilled, and the township has no further responsibility for the actual construction of the affordable units. Is my understanding correct? Third question. Now we're on to the budget. Regarding the budget, is the full cap, if the full cap amount of 2% is levied, approximately how much of an increase in revenue dollars will that generate for the municipal side of the budget? And the last question is, what happens to money allocated in the current budget for a staff position that may not have been filled during the year? For example, can that money be used for other purposes in the department where the unfilled position occurred? And if not, where does that money go? And that's the end of the questions. If you need to, repeat any of them, let me know. But then, I'm done.
Okay.
Well, Council President, I'd be happy to take the two questions involving pilot.
I was just going to ask you to do that.
Okay. The first question was, who are the eligible owners of redevelopment projects? By statute in New Jersey, the ownership entity has to be formed either as a not-for-profit urban renewal entity, or it needs to be formed as a limited dividend urban renewal entity. If you are a limited dividend entity, the profits that the entity can earn as a result of the real estate revenue are capped by statute. And what was the second question? I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was. I think affordable housing.
Second pilot question.
Yeah.
I wanted to verify my understanding of a statement made by Mr. Lott on at the 12:15 meeting. You seem to indicate that a township, that once a township has approved zoning overlays that allow affordable housing to be built on a property, then its affordable housing obligation for that site is fulfilled, and the township has no further responsibility for the actual construction of the affordable units. Is my understanding correct?
Your understanding is partially correct. One of the obligations that we have pursuant to our settlement agreement is to take the necessary rezoning actions. There were other obligations of the township pursuant to that settlement agreement, including enactment of various fees, appointment of various officials, agreements to monitor compliance for affordability controls that are also part of our affordable housing obligation because they are contained in our affordable housing settlement agreement.
Okay, as for the budget questions.
You want me to read the next one? If the full cap amount of 2% is levied, approximately how much of an increase in revenue dollars will that generate for the municipal side of the budget?
Nick, I think we can answer that question quickly. We haven't got that far yet, so it would be premature to answer the question. And as far as the second question with regards to unfilled positions.
How much was it last year?
Well, I don't have that in front of me right now, but we could get that back to you instead of digging through some stuff right now. As far as unfilled positions, if you have a position in a municipal budget line and you fill that, for whatever reason, the money stays in that budget line and becomes one of two things. It's transferred at the end of the year to pay unexpected expenses like overtime in that department or things like that. If it's not used, then it lapses into surplus the following year. So that means that any money left in the 2020 budget doesn't become surplus in the township's budget till 2022. That's the short answer.
Okay.
Okay, that was my question. So I guess I'll hang up now. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Thank you, Fred. All right, looks like we have, let's see, we have a Mr. Ramkumar Sridhath. Can we please unmute him, please?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to let me speak at this time. My name is Ramkumar Sridharan. I live in number 4 Autumn Ridge Road, Morris Plains, within Glenmont Common Association. The reason why I wanted to speak is we have been following up regarding the possession of our roads, our community, like all the roads within our community. There is some confusion about like the possession of the road has not been transferred from the builder to the township. So I just wanted to follow up because we still haven't heard whether that the possession has been transferred from the builder to the township. Just wanted to follow up on that.
Council President, may I?
Please do.
We've been working with the engineering department for some time, and engineering department had to go through a number of records. The Glenmont project it starts in about 1992, and I think the final phases of it, actually some of the final phases I believe are still under construction, but most of the work was done as about 2008. There are about 20 different approvals. There are literally thousands of pages of agreements that we've been through. We've taken a preliminary look at this. I actually assigned special counsel before the holiday. Antonelli Cantor was assigned as a special counsel, and all those documents were sent to them before the holidays, and they're currently under review. This is a bit of a riddle to unwind here, given the number of approvals and the amount of time that has elapsed to build what we know as Glenmont. So we're taking a look at it. Please be patient. It's not as easy as it sounds to determine exactly what phases may or may not have been dedicated.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like a lot of progress have been made, so really appreciate it, and thanks so much for looking into it.
No problem. We're on it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Looks like there are no more participants at this time, so can I please entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion, Grignani.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call. Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Okay, moving along to ordinances. Since this is just an agenda meeting, we're not voting. Just have you guys review the ordinance. Now moving along to the non-consent agenda under resolutions. If we can please just review those resolutions. Do we have any questions? Okay, seeing none. Moving along to approval of payroll and bills list. CFO Juan Uribe recommends authorization for payment to authorize this payment of the January 8th, 2021 regular payroll estimated at 1.8 million each, and number 2, payment of bills from voucher list of December 31st, 2020, estimate totaling $1,993,904.84. Can I please have a motion to approve the above authorization?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call. Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Mr. DePiero? Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Okay. May I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call. Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Okay, everyone, we are adjourned. I wish you all a good night.
Night, everyone.
Have a good
Good
night.
night.